Valerie Mahaffey. Valerie Mahaffey dies at 71. Valerie Mahaffey, the Emmy-winning actor known for such TV series as Northern Exposure, Big Sky, and Desperate Housewives, and films including Sully and Seabiscuit, has died. She was 71. Mahaffey's husband, actor Joseph Kell, disclosed that she died May 30th in Los Angeles after a battle with cancer. "I have lost the love of my life, and America has lost one of its most endearing actresses. She will be missed," Kell said. Mahaffey won the Supporting Comedy Actress Emmy in 1992 for her work as a hypochondriac Eve in the fictional Alaskan town, featured in CBS's Fish Out of Water dramedy, Northern Exposure, which aired from 1990 to 1995. Most recently, Mahaffey was seen in the Apple TV Plus series Echo 3 and the 2020 indie film French Exit opposite Michelle Pfeiffer and Lucas Hedges. For the latter, she earned an Independent Spirit Award nomination for her role as the optimistic Madame Reynard in Azazel Jacobs' dark comedy. She co-starred in David E. Kelley's ensemble detective drama series Big Sky, which aired on ABC in 2020 and 2021. She played the grandiose Lorna Harding character in the first 2 seasons of Netflix's dark comedy Dead to Me, opposite Christina Applegate. Mahaffey was born in Indonesia and lived in the country until she was 11. After that, she lived in such disparate spots as Nigeria, Texas, and England. Her acting career began on the stage in New York City. She appeared in 6 Broadway plays, including Dracula opposite Raul Julia in the late 1970s, and the Harold Prince-directed Play Memory, which had a short run in 1984. Mahaffey also starred in numerous off-Broadway and regional plays. She collected 2 Obie Awards, one for Top Girls at the Public Theater. Michael J. Burns. Michael J. Burns dies at 66. Former Archbishop of Agana, Michael J. Burns, who was suffering from Alzheimer's disease, died Saturday morning, Guam time, according to church officials. He was 66. Burns died peacefully in the care of close friends and medical staff while resting in hospice care in Detroit. He was contending with the progressively worsening illness of Alzheimer's disease, which prompted his resignation as Archbishop of Agana in March of 2023, Archbishop Ryan P. Jimenez said Saturday morning. Burns became coadjutor archbishop on Guam in 2016 after Archbishop Anthony Apparon, who served as head of the church for 30 years, was removed by the Pope. A Vatican tribunal later convicted Apparon of abusing minors. Burns was appointed archbishop in 2019 when Apparon exhausted all appeals in the case. Before coming to Guam, Burns served as the auxiliary archbishop of Detroit, his hometown, from 2011 to 2016. On Guam, much of his attention was spent dealing with divisions within the church. Burns led the church as hundreds of sexual abuse lawsuits were filed against the archdiocese, which eventually filed for bankruptcy. Jimenez said Burns will always be remembered for the tremendous faith, dedication, and perseverance he showed as he led the archdiocese during some of the most difficult years in the history of our church on Guam. He demonstrated great courage, faith, and obedience on October 31, 2016, when he answered the call from Pope Francis to travel many miles away to shepherd our people in a place he knew little about. Burns was the archbishop entrusted with making the difficult decisions related to the COVID pandemic, bankruptcy, and the hundreds of lawsuits filed against the church. Ernesto Pellegrini. Ernesto Pellegrini dies at 84. Historic president of Inter from 1984 to 1995 and founder of the Pellegrini Group, has died at the age of 84. In 1989, his Inter won the record Scudetto with 58 points, when a championship victory was still worth only 2. In 1991 and 1994, the Nerazzurri won the UEFA Cup. In addition to his important football and business results, the group has 11 employees, distributed between the offices in Milan, Rome, Mendrisio, and the many contracts around the world. Ernesto Pellegrini is also remembered for his social commitment. At the end of 2013, he created the Ernesto Pellegrini Almless Foundation, from whose experience, in 2014, the Reuben restaurant was born, in Via Gonan 52, a solidarity restaurant to support those who find themselves in temporary situations of emergency and economic and social fragility, where the new poor can eat a complete meal for €1. I salute Ernesto Pellegrini, a great entrepreneur, a great sportsman, a great person. From today, Milan is poorer and we are losing an authentic piece of the soul of Milan, wrote the Minister of Economy and Finance on X, Giancarlo Giorgetti. Ernesto Pellegrini, a man of vision and profound humanity, a central figure in the history of Inter, has left us. At the helm of the club for over a decade, he was able to combine passion, style, and respect, leaving an indelible mark on the Nerazzurri's memory and beyond, wrote the President of the Senate on X, Ignacio La Russa. Our sincere and affectionate condolences go to his wife Ivana, his daughter Valentina, and the entire Pellegrini family. Goodbye, President. Paris Saint-Germain, who will play the Champions League final against Inter today in Monaco, also commemorates the former president on their X profile. Alf Clausen. Alf Clausen dies at 84. Alf Clausen, the composer who made The Simpsons even funnier with his music for 27 years, died early Thursday after a decade-long battle with progressive supranuclear palsy, PSP. He was 84. Clausen won 2 Emmys and another 21 nominations for the long-running animated Fox series. He began scoring the antics of Bart, Lisa and Company in 1990 during its second season and is believed to be the most nominated composer in Emmy history with a total of 30 nominations overall. He also won 5 Annie Awards, also for Simpsons music. His long tenure with Matt Groening's irreverent creation made him one of the most respected creators of animation music in TV history. His nearly 600 original scores for the series are also believed to be a record for the most written for a single TV series in America. Alf was the man of 1,000 music cues, actually probably more than 10,000, during his decades on The Simpsons, creator Matt Groening told Variety. He was tireless, inspired, and always up for the musical challenges we threw at him. Clausen conducted a 35-piece orchestra every week, something producers insisted upon from the beginning. His unexpected firing in August 2017, a cost-saving move by Fox and Simpsons producer Gracie Films, resulted in a firestorm of protests from fans around the world. Producers decided to recognize Clausen's indelible contribution by crediting him as, quote, composer emeritus in subsequent seasons. Clausen was as adept at songwriting as score composition. Both his Emmy wins were for songs on The Simpsons, and they formed the basis for many of the tracks on the series' 3 popular compilation soundtracks, Songs in the Key of Springfield. Loretta Swit. Loretta Swit dies at 87. Loretta Swit, who played Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan on seminal TV comedy MASH, died Friday at her home in New York City. She was 87. Her representative Harlan Bowles said she died of natural causes. For her work on MASH, Swit was Emmy-nominated for Outstanding Performance by a Supporting Actress in a Comedy every year from 1974 to 83, winning the Emmy in 1980 and 1982. Her MASH co-star Alan Alda remembered her on X, writing, quote, Loretta was a supremely talented actor. She deserved all her 10 Emmy nominations and her 2 wins. But more than acting her part, she created it. She worked hard in showing the writing staff how they could turn the character from a one-joke sexist stereotype into a real person with real feelings and ambitions. We celebrated the day the script came out listing her character not as Hot Lips, but as Margaret. Loretta made the most of her time here. As MASH evolved over its 11-year run from a broadly farcical satire into a more contemplative series that embraced drama as much as comedy, the character of Margaret Houlihan and the way Swit performed it changed markedly as well. She was, at first, a crudely drawn villain allied with the weasel Frank Burns, who existed to be object of derision and of practical jokes by Hawkeye and Trapper John. The first step in her evolution came with the Season 4 episode Mail Call Again, in which Margaret realizes what Frank is, at least up to a point, after Frank's wife finds out about Margaret and he lies about it. With the Season 5 episode Bug Out, in which most of the personnel evacuate, leaving only Hawkeye, Margaret, and Radar to take care of a patient that can't be moved, viewers began to respect her professionally and a human side came through. Mike Eddy. Mike Eddy dies at 72. Short track racing legend Mike Eddy, who dominated during his tenure, passed away at the age of 72 on Thursday morning, May 29th, his family announced on social media. Eddie was a true icon in the American Speed Association ASA National Tour, where he set a record with 7 championship titles. His incredible career also included 58 wins in the series, second only to Bob Seneker, solidifying his place as one of the greatest ASA champions of all time. "This morning my dad took his final checkered flag," shared Mike's son Travis on Facebook. "You'll always be my best friend. Thank you for teaching me everything I know about life. You're no longer suffering, and I promise I'll see you again, Dad." The Michigan native captured victories in some of short track racing's most prestigious events throughout his remarkable career. Eddie claimed the Winchester 400 title in both 1981 and 1983, joining an elite group of only 9 drivers with multiple wins in the historic race. He led an astounding 1,859 laps at that event alone. His list of major wins also includes the 1981 Florida Governor's Cup, the 1985 World Crown 300, and the 1992 Redbud 400. Eddie also secured the Super Late Model Championship at the 1977 World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing at New Smyrna Speedway, notching 4 wins in just 8 races that year. During the era when the Slinger Nationals featured a 3-race mini-series each season, Eddie triumphed in 2 Nationals features and finished 4th in the points standings in both 1983 and 1984. He also sustained incredible longevity, winning races from the early 70s until 2004. Bernard Kerik. Bernard Kerik died at 69. Bernard Kerik, who served as New York City's police commissioner on 9/11 and later pleaded guilty to tax fraud before being pardoned, has died. He was 60. The New York Police Department confirmed his death Thursday on social media. FBI Director Kash Patel said his death came after a private battle with illness. Former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani reflected on his long history with his former police commissioner on his show Thursday. "We've been together since the beginning. He's like my brother," Giuliani said through tears. "I was a better man for having known Bernie. I certainly was a braver and stronger man." Kerik, an Army veteran, was hailed as a hero after the 9/11 attack and eventually nominated to head the U.S. Department of Homeland Security before a dramatic fall from grace that ended with him behind bars. He pleaded guilty to federal tax fraud and false statement charges in 2010. The charges stemmed partially from over $250,000 in apartment renovations he received from a construction firm that authorities say counted on Kerik to convince New York officials it had no organized crime links. During Kerik's sentencing, the judge noted that he committed some of the crimes while serving as quote, "the chief law enforcement officer for the biggest and grandest city this nation has." He served 3 years in prison before his release in 2013. President Donald Trump pardoned Kerik during a 2020 clemency blitz. Kerik was among the guests feting Trump after his first appearance in federal court in Florida in a case related to his handling of classified documents, attending the former president's remarks at his Bedminster, New Jersey club. David Trist. David Trist dies at 77. The former New Zealand coach David Trist, who helped guide the team to the Champions Trophy in 2000, then called the ICC Knockout, has died aged 77. Trist was a pace bowler for Canterbury during a 14-year playing career, then went into coaching with roles with Canterbury, South Africa, Hong Kong, and Netherlands before the New Zealand job in 1999 when he replaced Steve Rickson. Though he was only in the position for 2 years, he was able to secure New Zealand's first piece of global silverware, which has since been added to for the men with the 2021 World Test Championship. In the final in Nairobi, they beat India by 4 wickets, with Chris Cairns scoring an unbeaten century. Cairns was outstanding and played an innings that he will remember forever because it was the winning of the game, Trist told ESPN Cricinfo in a 2017 interview. But the feeling was we could do it, and we had to do it. That was what pervaded the dressing room. Although there were moments of concern, quite clearly, with losing wickets early and 1 or 2 other batsmen not quite doing what they had done previously. But Cairns' innings was one of his greatest, if not his greatest innings, in so much as it won basically the only thing New Zealand has ever won. He could take the game away from you. He was a big hitter, but he was also technically very sound. He wasn't unsettled by fast bowling, and against spin he was positive. I think in the latter stage of that innings, the Indians went from "we've won this" to "oh shit," and Chris went on, of course, to get 100. It was a huge innings, and probably one of the most important innings in terms of New Zealand that we've witnessed. Charles Wadsworth. Charles Wadsworth died at 96. Born on May 21, 1929, in Barnesville, Georgia, Charles Wadsworth started his musical career on the piano. When he was 12, he began studying in Atlanta with Hugh Hodgson, the founder of the music department at the University of Georgia. Wadsworth moved to New York to attend the Juilliard School at age 19, where he studied with Alton Jones and the Bach specialist Rosalind Turek. During those early years in New York, he directed and accompanied a church performance of Giancarlo Menotti's Amal and the Night Visitors. Menotti later invited Wadsworth to perform at the Festival of Two Worlds in Spoleto, Italy. There, Wadsworth created the festival's midday concerts, Concerti di Mezzogiorno, which featured the likes of pianist Sviatoslav Richter and cellist Jacqueline Dupri. In 1977, Wadsworth brought this series to Charleston, South Carolina, where the Spoleto USA Festival was born. He served as its artistic director for 30 years. Back in New York, he was made the artistic director of the new Chamber Music Society of Lincoln Center. As its founding artistic director, he commissioned 65 new chamber works from celebrated composers such as Boulez, Barber, and Bernstein. During his tenure, the Society premiered works including John Corigliano's Poem in October, David del Tredici's Haddock's Eyes, Pierre Boulez's Explosante/Fixe, Ned Rorem's Winter Pages, and Oliver Knusson's Ophelia Dances, all of which became staples. His contributions to the genre of chamber music were immense, and he worked tirelessly to bring this body of work to audiences around the world, the Chamber Music Society of Lincoln Center wrote on its Facebook. Al Foster. Al Foster dies at 82. Al Foster, whose superbly alert and flexible drumming formed a swirling current in modern jazz for more than 60 years, propelling bands led by Miles Davis, Sonny Rollins, and many others, died on Wednesday in his New York City apartment. He was 82. Bonnie Rose Steinberg, his partner of more than 47 years, confirmed his death to NPR Music. She said Foster died from a serious illness. Foster had a strong yet supple beat, and the intuitive ability to shift his rhythmic balance to suit the musical setting. His swinging ride cymbal could convey the crisp authority of bebop or the deep pull of modal jazz, and he provided the thrashing backbeat in some prominent fusion bands. He knocked me out because he had such a groove and he would just lay it right in there, Davis wrote in Miles, the autobiography. The trumpeter honored that bedrock groove with a hallucinatory funk composition titled Mr. Foster, recorded during the sessions for his 1972 album On the Corner. Joining Davis's working band, Foster appeared on studio albums like Big Fun and live albums like Dark Magus and Agartha. But Foster preferred to swing, and he did so mightily in a range of notable settings. He worked on and off with Rollins, one of his musical heroes, for several decades. Foster also appears on a defining double album by another tenor saxophonist, Joe Henderson, The State of the Tenor Vols 1 and 2, recorded at the Village Vanguard in 1985. The bassist on that recording, Ron Carter, also worked alongside Foster in groups led by alto saxophonist Art Pepper and pianists McCoy Tyner and Horace Silver, among others. In 1978, Foster's sterling reputation in straight-ahead jazz circles was made manifest in a record label supergroup branded the Milestones Jazz Stars. Peter Kwong. Peter Kwong dies at 73. Peter Kwong, who played Rain, one of the three martial arts warlocks in John Carpenter's 1986 action classic Big Trouble in Little China, has died in his sleep Tuesday night, according to one of his reps. He was 73. No further details were shared. Kwong, a Sacramento, California native, began his career as a TV actor in the late 70s and 80s, with stints in shows like The A-Team, Wonder Woman, Little House on the Prairie, Miami Vice, The Greatest American Hero, Cagney and Lacey, Dynasty, MacGyver, and 227. His most well-known role came with the 1986 release of Big Trouble in Little China, in which he played Rain, one of three super-powered martial artists known as the Three Storms. He starred alongside Kim Cattrall and frequent Carpenter collaborator Kurt Russell. Although the film has since emerged as a cult classic, it was a commercial failure at the time of its release, grossing only $11 million against a budget of roughly $20 million. Also in 1986, Kwong starred in Never Too Young to Die with John Stamos and Vanity, as well as The Golden Child with Eddie Murphy and Charles Dance. Kwong was just as active in Hollywood behind the camera as he was in front of it. He was on the SAG National Board of Directors for more than 10 years and was also a member of the AFTRA National Board of Directors. He also served on the Television Academy Board of Governors, as well as the Actors Branch Executive Committee of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. Rick Derringer. Rick Derringer dies at 77. Rick Derringer, the singer and guitarist who topped the US charts with his band The McCoys and was a sideman for a host of stars, including Barbra Streisand, Cyndi Lauper, and Steely Dan, has died aged 77. The news was announced in a Facebook post by his close friend Tony Wilson, who did not give a cause of death. While he didn't achieve household name status, Derringer was one of the great Zelig figures of American pop and rock, in a career stretching back to his mid-teens. Born Richard Zeringer in Ohio, he and his family moved to Union City, Indiana, where he formed garage rockers The McCoys. They got the chance to record their own version of the rhythm and blues song My Girl Sloopy, with a 17-year-old Derringer as frontman. Renamed Hang On Sloopy, it reached #1 in the US in 1965. After Ohio State University's marching band started playing it at college football games, it got another boost in popularity, and eventually, in 1985, Ohio designated it the state's official rock song. The McCoys had another US top 10 hit with the follow-up, a cover of Little Willie John's Fever. Come On, Let's Go reached #22 the following year, and the group recorded 5 albums together. The McCoys then partnered with blues rocker Johnny Winter for the group Johnny Winter and, who made the first recording of another Derringer rock classic, Rock and Roll, Hoochie Coo. The definitive version came in 1973, performed by Derringer for his debut solo album, All-American Boy. This raunchy and swaggering hard rock track reached #23 in the US, and later earned high-profile syncs on the soundtracks to Richard Linklater film Dazed and Confused and the 4th season of Stranger Things. Robert Jarvik. Robert Jarvik died at 79. Dr. Robert K. Jarvik, the principal designer of the first permanent artificial heart implanted in a human, a procedure that became a subject of great public fascination and fierce debate about medical ethics, died on Monday at his home in Manhattan. He was 79. His wife, the writer Marilyn Vos Savant, said the cause was complications of Parkinson's disease. In 1982, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration gave the University of Utah permission to implant what was designed to be a permanent artificial heart in a human. On December 2nd that year, Dr. William C. DeVries led the pioneering surgical team that implanted the Jarvik 7 model, made of aluminum and plastic, in a 61-year-old retired Seattle dentist, Barney B. Clark. Dr. Clark at first declined to receive the Jarvik 7. Dr. DeVries was quoted as saying in a 2012 university retrospective, but he changed his mind on Thanksgiving after he had to be carried by his son to the dinner table. Dr. Clark's chronic heart disease had left him weeks from death. If the surgery didn't work for him, he told doctors, maybe it would help others. During the 7-hour surgery, according to the retrospective, Dr. Clark's heart muscle tore like tissue paper as it was removed after so many years of being treated with steroids. Upon awakening, Dr. DeVries said, Dr. Clark told his wife, Una Loy Clark, I want to tell you, even though I have no heart, I still love you. Dr. Clark survived for 112 days, attached to a 400-pound air compressor, roughly the size of a dishwasher, that helped the Jarvik 7 pump blood through his body. But he never left the hospital, and he experienced seizures, kidney failure, and a broken valve on the heart that needed replacing. Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx has always been a rare kind of artist, the kind who could make us laugh one moment and bring us to tears the next. Whether through his powerful performances in films like Ray or Django Unchained, or his ability to light up a stage with music or humor, Jamie has given the world so much of himself. His energy, charisma, and heart have made him a beloved figure in entertainment, but now, away from the cameras and crowds, he is facing one of the most difficult battles of his life. Jamie Foxx's health is very poor, and the risk to his well-being may be increasing. For someone who was always so full of life, whose voice could fill a room with laughter or song, it's heartbreaking to witness such vulnerability. His recent health struggles have shaken fans and loved ones alike. There are days when the strength he once poured into every performance must now be used just to make it through the day. And yet, in the midst of uncertainty, Jamie continues to fight with quiet courage. He has always been more than a performer. Jamie is a father, a friend, a man of immense heart. His talent was never just for show. It was a gift he used to connect, to heal, to uplift. And now, as he faces this difficult road, that same gift, the love he has given, comes back to him in waves from those who care so deeply. This chapter is not easy. It is filled with questions, with long hours, with quiet prayers, but through it all the world stands beside him, grateful for every moment he's shared, every laugh he's inspired, every note he's sung straight from the soul. Thank you, Jamie, for the joy, the honesty, the fire. You've carried so many people through hard times with your spirit, and now we carry you, with love, with hope, and with unwavering belief in your strength.